Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the night sky for the month of June. We have already looked at the night sky in June to various degrees, mostly looking at how little of a night we actually get in June. But we're going to ignore that for this show and concentrate on what we can actually see. So just here as the sun is going down, Jupiter is above the horizon still before the sun sets. Thanks to the angle of the sun and all of this orange-yellow glow of sunset, it is going to be very hard for us to see Jupiter here in Ireland, but if you are a little bit closer to the equator, Jupiter is still up as the sun is going down, just not in as good a position as Mars. Mars is significantly further away from sunset. We can see Mars there right next to the moon on the 1st of June. But of course, that distance will increase over the next few days. Mars is going to keep sinking down towards the sunset, whereas the moon will keep pushing away across the sky. So, of course, we have to wait quite a while for it to get dark at this time of the year. But even before it gets dark, we can still see the brighter stars. We can still see some of the more famous objects. We can still follow the arc of the handle of the plough down to Arcturus and then spike on to Spica. We can see the shape of Leo there, the sort of trapezium body of Leo. The sickle of Leo should come out just a little bit later. And of course, the moon is really in the cycle of Leo, so that will make it a little bit harder to see. Now that we're so close to midsummer, we've got Scorpius above the horizon. Really, just as soon as the sun sets, we've got the summer triangle nice and clear as well. We can already see the arms of Cygnus there as we come up to a little after 11 o'clock. So, of course, all of this is going to be a little bit later than whenever we would see these things in winter time. We can see that the plough or the Big Dipper is nice and high in the sky, a little bit to the west of the North Star. Cassiopeia is very, very low. So Cassiopeia will be coming up as we come through to morning time, whereas the plough or the Big Dipper will be coming down on the opposite side. So here we are. This is just a little bit after 12. If you do want to go stargazing anytime around midsummer, close to midnight, a little after midnight, or closer to the physical midnight of 1:30 is ideal. But of course, we're looking at things here in the city. In the city, we're always going to be limited by a little bit of light pollution. Having a little bit of sunlight in the sky isn't going to make the hugest difference. We're already losing so much from light pollution, losing a little bit more due to the glow of the sun. It is only a little bit more. So now we're looking at very close to sunrise, almost 3 o'clock in the morning. If you get up with the sunrise on the longest day of the year, on the summer solstice, this is a little bit earlier in the month, but it's good practice at least. We can definitely see Sagittarius there. The summer triangle is nice and high in the sky. So even from a city, even on midsummer, pointing your telescope or your binoculars somewhere in there should let you see some parts of the Milky Way and maybe some nebulae. We're definitely getting the square of Pegasus there reasonably above the horizon before the sunrise, so we know that the constellation of Andromeda and the Andromeda Galaxy have to be over there somewhere. Now, as the sun is coming up, we have Venus and Saturn. Saturn in particular is going to get easier and easier to see over the course of the month, but Venus is also going to get quite prominent. Venus is still moving out away from the sun there, but because we're getting so close to midsummer, the sunrise is also getting earlier and earlier. So Venus is, by virtue of its brightness, still really easy to see, even if it is coming up exactly on midsummer's morning. Even with the glow of the sun, Venus is still far enough from the sun and in the sky for long enough. We still have plenty of time to enjoy it. You can see there as we move into the future, all the way into August, Venus is still there in the morning. Venus's year is shorter than ours, but not by an incredible amount. Venus's year is a little shorter than the Earth's. It is closer to the length of our year than our year is to Mars. But we can see here as we push a little bit closer to the middle of the month, Saturn's there in a good level of darkness as early as 3 o'clock. So especially if you want to see the rings of Saturn, waiting for later in the month when Saturn will be higher while the sky is darker. So we can see there past the summer solstice, we've got Saturn nice and high in a good level of darkness at 3 o'clock. We can go a little bit earlier and Saturn's still visible there 2:45. So this is right through now to the end of the month. And by the end of the month, we're past the summer solstice. We're after going through the longest day of the year. So from this point forward, the days will be getting shorter, the nights will be getting longer. I almost got this, I suppose I should say, in a previous video. Mercury does appear to be there around the 31st. Yep, so we can see there coming back a little bit. There's Mercury visible for a few of the nights around the solstice. A few nights before, a few nights after. Mercury's incredibly tricky to catch under the best of conditions, and sunset on the summer solstice is certainly not the best of conditions to see a faint little planet like Mercury. But it will be there if you're watching the sunset on the summer solstice or around the summer solstice. Mercury is there just above the horizon, but as we can see, it's incredibly low. So heading towards the coast, it's always nice to, well, here in Ireland at least, it's always nice to head to the beach on the night of the summer solstice because it's significantly warmer than other times of the year, or at least bright and warm for quite a long period of time. So maybe you will be at the coast looking for Mars over, or Mercury over in almost the northwest as the sun is setting. We can also see that by the end of the month, Mars is also pretty low. It seems significantly lower here than it did at the start of the month. Of course, that's the Earth and Mars. We're both moving around the sun together. And now looking into the south, Arcturus and Spica are way over in the southwest. It is Scorpius that's in our due south position. That means the Milky Way is rising right above the south there at midnight. But of course, there's all of the issue of extra light from the sun. Once we push forward towards morning time, we've already seen it, Saturn a little bit further from the sun and Venus still holding prominent. So what we're going to do instead is head out to the countryside and see what the sky looks like. First, in the early part of June again, we'll come back to the early part of the month. We do want to come quite early in the month, so we're avoiding that bright glow of the full moon. We don't want that to get in the way too much. So we can see here, as the sun sets, Jupiter should be easier to see. And there it is. And we are limited in this position. Jupiter is going to go behind that tree there. But Jupiter is still visible to the naked eye. You know, a good few degrees above the horizon. Jupiter does come out quite early while the sky is still quite bright. And we can see there in the countryside, it is a prominent bright dot. So much brighter than Mars, even though it is quite low to the horizon. Once the sky starts getting darker, in a truly dark sky again, this is a perfect sky, quite difficult to achieve under normal conditions. You really have to be in a true dark sky to get a view like this. So we can see Vesta there. We know where Vesta is, out in that direction. Once the sky gets truly dark, with a big pair of binoculars, Vesta is a target. So Ceres is, well, there we go. Immediately we can see that little ball of Vesta. And if we go out on a couple of different nights, you can see how it moves differently to the stars. That wandering across the sky, that's what makes it a planetess, or an asteroid in this case. That's what makes it a part of our solar system, or what shows that it's a part of our solar system. It moves differently to that background of stars outside of our solar system. So they're potentially a binoculars target. It isn't as big as Ceres, but it is quite close to us in the asteroid belt, so still further away than Mars. Vesta is a reasonable target. So here we go. Just after true physical midnight for us here in Ireland. So you can take a look at your time zone and see how close to the center of it you are. If you're far from the center of your time zone, you will need to adjust the time a little bit. And then if you do daylight savings, you'll have to adjust it by another hour. But there's the glow of the Milky Way, stretching perfectly across the sky, the whole thing. It is one of the best times of the year to see the whole thing with your eye. However, it's visible for such a short length of time, and the extra light in the sky from the sun, that for photography it may not be the best. We can see Sagittarius looking really clear and prominent there. We can see the lower part of the teapot. So at other times of the year, earlier in the year, for example, Sagittarius would be hidden a little bit by the horizon, but it's really coming into view there, of course, followed by Venus and Saturn. We'll push right through to the end again, just to see what the sky looks like at the end of the month. And again, this conveniently avoids the moon, because we're getting our full moon at around the 12th, the middle of the month, the actual middle of the month, a few days before the solstice. That's when the moon is going to be in the sky providing extra light. We can see the Pleiades coming back around there. So the Pleiades, seeing them rise coming back in the morning is another sign that we're coming up to the solstice. We use the summer triangle, or the summer triangle at least was used in the Western Hemisphere, in the Northwestern Hemisphere at least, as a way of marking out when summer was coming and going. But the Pleiades, other groups of stars in the Southern Hemisphere, the summer triangle may not be as clear, especially if you're far in the Southern Hemisphere. So other groups of stars were also used for measuring that time of year. Now, there's Mercury, and of course there's Mercury. We're back through to the end of the month again. But honestly, on the 28th there, Mercury I don't think is at its best. Yeah, I think coming back a little bit around the 21st, around the solstice really, you will have a better chance of seeing Mercury. And of course, you'll have a better chance of seeing it if you're in the countryside. Everything is better in the countryside. Moving right up to the 30th again and letting the sky get dark. We can see the sun is setting. We're past the solstice. So there we go. True darkness kicking in as early as 20 past 12, which is still before physical midnight for us here in Ireland. We're still going to be using summertime for another little while, but there we can see the glow of the Milky Way. Really perfect. Really, really perfect. There's really nothing wrong with this. We've got a little bit of light there, sunlight in the north, but if you're using your naked eye in a truly dark sky, it's rising right up of the south, right as we come to 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's a nice, memorable time. You know, if you set an alarm for 12:30, head outside. By the time you're out there at 1 o'clock, the Milky Way will be stretching right overhead, and we can see it there just starting to disappear as we come to 3 o'clock. So it's not in the sky for very long, but it is in that perfect position. Briefly saw Uranus there just under the Pleiades, because of course it is still in that position. Uranus orbits the sun so slowly. Its position relative to the stars changes so slowly. And there we are back into morning time with Venus and Saturn. So I hope you enjoyed this less solstice related overview of what we are going to see in June. If you did enjoy this video, then please do like it. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And I also have a website, queevinscontent.ie, where you can read some of this information if you're interested. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.